So the regular meeting of the Coeur d'Alene Public Library Board of Trustees for June is now in session. We began with public comment, and I did not notice anyone was signed up.
Okay.
Better trying to jog a little bit.
Yeah.
One is oxygen level.
All right. So as a reminder, no person shall be permitted to speak unless they have entered their full name and city of residence on the provided sign-in sheet. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, and groups representing a consistent viewpoint are strongly encouraged to select one spokesperson. Anyone who does not attend the meeting is welcome to submit a written or oral testimony to be read on their behalf, along with their full name and city of residence. And that could be done if somebody wanted to at the next meeting. So let's hear from Angela Flock of Coeur d'Alene.
I'm Angela Flock, Coeur d'Alene. I'm the Teen Services Coordinator here at the library. I'm not giving comment in an official capacity. I just wanted to publicly thank Michael Priest for his time here. He has been the best director that I've ever had. He came at a time when my role in advocating for teen services and carrying them out was weighed down by outside challenges such as COVID, culture wars targeting primarily teen books, divisiveness in the community, and anti-library legislation and ideologies. I honestly don't know if I would have stayed here amid all of those stressors if it hadn't been for you, Michael. I told him recently that he's kind of like my therapist. He laughed and gave this sly grin and said, I think that's what a director's job sort of is, isn't it? And that's a rare mindset, but it seems necessary right now with the waves of criticism and scrutiny that have been directed at libraries of late. It makes his exit more difficult for me as well. His door was always open, both figuratively and literally. And if his door was closed, it was usually because he was helping someone, usually me. Or at least that's how it felt. But he didn't play favorites. He was there for whoever walked through his door, much like the library is. I've seen him shovel sidewalks, take out trash or recycling, cover closing shifts, shift books, do menial tasks without complaint. I often noticed him taking a huge load of cardboard out to the recycling bin, and I'd hold the door open for him on his way back in, and he'd say, just doing my part. He trusts staff like me, and when I'd ask to meet him to address concerns I had, he'd often say something like, I don't know if I can help, but I'll try. The conversation always helped, always. Sometimes I just needed a sounding board, a place to vent. He's a great active listener and would often remind me that I'm doing my best and not to be too hard on myself. He also trusted my instincts and experience and saw me as an expert in my field. These are traits of a humble leader with a hidden strength and confidence in his team. I don't know how we're going to find someone like him. I'm not sure we can, but I'm grateful for the time that I was mentored by your example, Michael, and I'm encouraged that your steady, laid back, see how things go attitude has readied this board for what will come next. Michael, you don't usually see change as a bad thing, but as an opportunity for growth and innovation. I hope we haven't broken that part of you. And I hope that we can take up that torch when you're gone. I hope you find your new team in New Zealand to be as capable and as supportive and as trustworthy as the one you're leaving behind. And if you ever need any encouragement, I hope you reach out. Thank you for your time here and the mentorship of your example. I, for one, am forever grateful and better for it.
Thank you. We're moving on to the consent calendar now, so I will entertain a motion regarding that.
Move that we approve the consent calendar.
It
It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar. Is there any discussion? Okay, yeah, hearing none. All those in favor of passing the consent calendar as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent calendar is approved as presented. And then moving on to Michael's director's report.
Yeah, so thing up top, which isn't in the report, obviously, but I had handed in my resignation, as you know, on Monday. I did receive an unexpected opportunity back home in New Zealand, which is closer to my family and my wife. And, you know, it wasn't an easy decision. We went back and forth quite a bit, but we decided best choice for us right now. And I want to thank the board, especially. You've been so supportive of me, of the library, of the staff. You've been a pleasure to work with. So can't thank you enough for that. Yeah, so we'll get down to business. The first phase of updates to the teen area is progressing slowly. So we've reconfigured the space to a degree. And so the next step is to do the big heavy lifting, which is knocking down a wall, which is putting in more electrical outlets into the space to support flexibility and more devices and the ability for people to plug in and use the space to its fullest potential. So that's kind of where we're at. We're waiting on the building department to send somebody over to give us a permit to knock down the wall. And then we will engage probably the same electricians who did the relamping project. We have a pretty good working relationship with them now, so hopefully they can come up with some solutions for electrical work, which isn't easy given most of the building is concrete. So, or at least the structure of it. So they've got some solutions in mind. Other than that, our art projects on the lower level also going quite slowly. The artist Pete Goldlist did submit a design, which we feel is pretty good, but there's been a little bit of back and forth. The donor and the selection committee have been giving him additional ideas, things they would like to see for that artwork. And he is due to give us a new version of it. When is that, Holly? Maybe next week?
Yeah, he said it probably would be before the 4th.
Yeah.
That's maybe the end of this week.
Yeah, and hopefully that, we're really hoping that's the final design, and then I'll be able to bring it to you for approval. And it's got to go to the Arts Commission, and it's got to go to City Council, so it's got a long way to go, but we're just making sure we get it right. And that's it for now, I think. Any questions?
I had a question with Christopher's report there.
Mhm.
Just reminding us what all CDA archives held.
Yes, so it was a victim of the cyber attack. It was on a server that more or less was not functional anymore. And it's a pretty low priority for the city IT department. They've had a lot to restore, particularly from backups, and this is one of the things they would restore from backups. So CDA archives held the CDA press, back issues of it going way back to 1892. There are a few gaps here and there, but it's more or less a complete run through to 1963. So it's a well-used, well-loved resource for the community. It's a lot easier than getting on the microfilm. It's a lot easier than going through our physical back copies, back issues of the newspaper. We are starting to sustain a lot of frustration, people making comments. We really need to get this back. So the latest on that is, unfortunately, the city IT department's had some turnover of key staff. We're really trying to push it through the city administrator and the city clerk. This really is a priority for us, at least. We're starting to feel the heat from the public about restoring it. So we're hopeful we can come to a solution pretty soon. Fortunately, don't have a timeline or a commitment.
Help if we put pressure, if we ask the city administrator.
That would help, yes. Yeah.
It's time.
Okay,
We've had this experience in the past where it's hard. City Hall has so many different umbrellas, and if they don't use it, they don't understand how many people use it and how important it is as a library service. So they just need to be reminded is all.
thank you.
We're using them, Chromebooks instead of laptops now. That's
Yeah. So Christopher, our IT coordinator, he really likes Chromebooks. They're kind of flexible. They're easy to fix if things go wrong. And they don't require a lot of maintenance. They kind of maintain themselves in a way. So he's pretty keen on doing a a switch to Chrome devices moving forward. And so we had these kinds of laptops in our laptop lab, which did require quite a bit of maintenance. So he switched to Chromebooks, which are a lot easier.
Out of necessity, but it's good.
Yeah, it's a good change.
Thank you for the director's report, Michael. Moving on to our other reports. Our first one will be Ayla. Do you have anything to report as our student representative?
Well, I haven't actually really been back here since our last meeting because I went on my first vacation for the summer. It was tons of fun. It was my first and last, but I will be helping out with a lot of summer camps this summer. I'm teaching art camp, which is why I'm covered in paint today. And I'm teaching a martial arts camp in June and then another art camp in August. So that's gonna be a lot of fun, but I've been sad because I haven't been at the library and I haven't been reading anything, so I'm excited to pick up some new reads probably today or tomorrow. And yeah, I'm already getting nervous for the next school year, but it's all going well.
Thanks, Ayla. Friends of the library report.
I will just add Kiki Miller did express that she couldn't make the meeting a little bit ago. She did say one thing to share was that City Council's next budget workshop is tentatively planned for July 22nd. Just wanted to share that. Friends of the Library have not met this month. They're not going to meet this month. But where did we leave things? So I did tell you they're spending $2,000 on the summer reading program, supplying prizes and all the supplies and things they need. So that was their main thing last time. I'm just trying. Oh, did I tell you they also helped fix? We had our front entrance was broken for a little while there. It wasn't functioning. It's an automated door. It wasn't functioning the way it should. The building maintenance team, their funds for repairing things is running pretty low. So they did ask if there was any way we could help out. At first I thought, well, maybe the friends could. A $3,000 replacement for the door, and they agreed to that, which has really helped the city and really helped us, obviously. And I, again, just happy to help. Lucky to have.
Excellent. And Holly, report from the Library Foundation.
A very successful novel destination, last Thursday with David Kilmer talking about Argentina. He's such a great presenter. I was not able to attend, but I hear from Steve and Betty and all my good helpers that it was a great event. And we always have refreshments. And so Mary did all the shopping and everything for me and got $486 worth of donations just for the food and drink they had. So it's a fundraiser right there. And she didn't give me her bills, so I made some money. My G-Mobile will be at the 4th of July parade. We're decorating next Tuesday. So my G is geared up to be his normal happy self. Should be a good time by being the parade. I'm not sure if I had reported last time that I had written a grant from both Enovia for the teen zone. Did I report that? Did get the $15,000, which was we already committed to Michael, they were gonna get 50 from our campaign. And we we're just gonna use the rest of it from our other banking, but this helped the process a little bit more. So 15,000 came from them. And again, I'm not remember if my board talked about the shower that you wanted to do, Katie, with the Post Falls Library. We're up and ready to help.
And I called Betty, after the announcement of the resignation of the library director, to see about what she thought about timing for when we should do this. And she said it might be wise to put the shower on hold until we at least have some idea if they're going to be able to fill that position in the next 5 or 6 months, or what's gonna happen? Is there gonna be a stable, who's gonna, the interim, will that be one person that follows it through? And so we have one single contact person. So we're gonna hold off on an exact month, whether it will be how far into the fall it will be or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because of the fluidity of the county system.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're ready to help.
Yes.
when The time
Yes.
comes, so that's an issue.
Okay, Jim, could I go back? I wanted to ask Michael a question about the budget meeting.
Yeah, I think that's.
In the dark ages, Michael, sometimes trustees went to those budget hearings. They've changed structure so many times, I don't even know what the structure is like. I don't believe we've had any trustees at budget hearings in the last 5 or 6 years, right? It's been a long, not since you've been, and how long have you been on, Jim?
I started 2020.
Okay, and how about you, Ann? What year?
21 years.
21 years. No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
Really? 21 years? Oh, my gosh. Well, since she's been on the board, we definitely have, but it's been a while, quite a while
Yeah.
back. And so with the change and you not there, would it be helpful to have a trustee at that budget hearing, or is it out of place? Because you only want to do what's right, what's helpful.
Let me ask Troy Thomas.
Yeah.
See what he says. You can always join, it's sort of open to the public. I mean, it is. Not many people do attend, but there are chairs out and people can come and join if you want to join that way. But let me ask Troy.
I'm just thinking about physical presence support. Different than being online.
Yeah,
It's very different.
typically it is staff members in that room.
Okay,
Um,
well, you'll let us know if you
Yeah.
think one of us should go with whoever the person is that's gonna be there for the library.
And only other thing, Tara Roberts is the author that's coming in October. You'll hear more about his the time process, but other than that, that's all I have.
What's the name again?
Tara Roberts.
Oh,
It's The Wild and Distant Seas. She's lives in Moscow. Both Betty and I read her book and really enjoyed it. Should be a good one.
And what month is that?
October
That's what I thought you said.
13. That's all.
Moving on from reports to our unfinished business. The first order of business is updating the loan policy.
Get that up on screen.
Entertain a motion regarding that.
We accept loan policy as printed.
There's an option 1 and an option 2 in it. So I think we,
Well,
for
discussion,
okay,
for discussion. Not willing to accept.
One, just say 1 or 2.
yeah, I think it's an action item. We need to specify 1 or 2, and then we can change our minds if needed. Yeah, well, we can once there's a motion.
Okay. I move that we discuss option 2.
So is your motion,
No restriction.
okay, so is your motion to approve the, with the option 2?
Yes.
Okay. So,
All right.
no problem.
We're
This
together. so-
one's complicated.
Yeah. I did.
Is there a second?
Second.
So the motion is to approve the updated loan policy using option 2 under minor card, under the minor card area of that policy.
All right, if you want me to walk you through it.
Yes, please.
So, I mean, to come back, just to update you from last time, we were discussing the idea of minors having a more restricted process for them signing up for a library card, just to help safeguard the library. You asked me to check in with Randy Adams, city attorney. He thinks the way it is right now is fine. He would suggest, we keep an eye on things moving forward, see if we do have to make changes, but right now he thinks that's kind of the least of our problems. So he would suggest that it's fine to keep it as is. So we can continue to go to, for example, a daycare, or probably a school is a better example. Go to a school, our outreach team goes to a school, finds children who do not yet have library cards, gives them a form. The child goes back to their home, gets their parent to fill out the form, sign it, they bring it back to the outreach activity, and we issue a card. So that kind of scenario would stay in place if you're comfortable with that. So that's that piece. And then moving down to, I guess, the question at hand, we've got two options. So one is, we've discussed before, having available as an option for those parents or guardians who want it, a library card that is restricted, a minor library card that is restricted to only the children's and teen collections, or juvenile and teen collections. Randy thinks it is a good idea. He is supportive of this, but again, it's one of those ones, it's not in the legislation that's just been passed. It's not explicitly saying you have to do this. He just thinks it might be a good precaution. That said, it could be something we do today. It could be something we do at a later date. Again, just seeing how the situation evolves and see if it's needed. So the two options on the table are to introduce a restricted card for minors for those parents and guardians who would like it, or not do anything, basically. Maintain no restrictions on minor cards, leave them the way they are, at least for now.
But we couldn't have both of them together in the same motion,
Right.
because we're actually talking about it.
Yeah. I think what you could break it down to approving one part of it and the next part of it. So you could come back to this. So minor card, the procedure for minor cards, policy for minor cards, how we issue minor cards, and then you can make another motion to discuss the second part, which is minor card restrictions.
Yes, comment.
So first of all, personally, I don't think we should have any restrictions. But I think the legislature, in their wisdom, if we can call it that, says that the library shall not promote, give, or make available materials that are considered harmful to a minor, and then includes the definition of obscenity and so on and so on. And I don't think we really do that. I don't think we have obscenity in the library per se. Nevertheless, I foresee that many books will be challenged by some people in the community. And so I think my perspective is, in order to maybe forestall that a little bit, is to put the burden back on the parents, which has always been our position. And if we say to the parent, your child can have a library card restricted to just
Whatever you say.
children's materials or young adult materials, and their child brings home something from the adult section, well, they can't. Or if the parent gives unfettered access and the child brings something home from the adult section, it's like, you allowed it. We didn't provide it, you allowed it. And so it's not an ideal solution. I don't particularly like it, but I think it falls in line with the legislature has mandated that we do, in a sense. I mean, it's our interpretation of what they've legislated. And so I'm in favor of having a restricted card for minors, and then if their parent wants them to have an unrestricted card, then the parent can sign off on that and say, so.
Wait a minute, you're saying you want minors to have a restricted card?
I'm saying that that's the
Yeah.
most.
An option,
An
option of,
No, I'm saying that all minors, my perspective is that all minors should have a restricted card unless the parents say, no, they're free to have access to anything in the library. That puts the burden strictly on the parents, not on us. That's the way I perceive it. I don't think that's a great solution.
no,
But I
I
think-
would reverse that. I mean, I would say just the opposite. It's unrestricted unless the parents want it restricted. And then they could put a restricted card for their child. They would go to check out a book
That's, yeah.
and then would say, I'm sorry, you can't check that out, right? Because your parents have said you can't check out books from X section or Y section. or-
Because parents are restricted, you know,
Sorry.
I'll let you go next. I mean, I think that would work too, but you also have the situation where how many library cards do we have out now that are held by minors? And once this law goes into effect July 1st, all the minors have unrestricted access unless their parents step forward. And if the parents don't step forward or don't do anything, then there's a greater chance of having legal problems. Whereas if you say, as of July 1st, minors can only check out books in the juvenile and children's section, then the parents have to step forward and take affirmative action to allow that access. I think that's what the legislature wants. So I think that's why I think we should do it. I don't like it personally. That's right.
So do we have to reissue all?
That would be my suggestion, but you know,
That was
No,
one.
that's what I'm saying.
Once, or we could block all minor cards,
Oh, you can't.
yeah, and then go through the process of trying to connect with the parents and decide what they want to do.
Terrible.
It's- It is what, who did that? West Bonner County. Or is it East Bonner? One of the Bonners. They, did that with their minor cards. They didn't, they blocked minor cards. They haven't restricted minor cards, but they had every parent come in and sign a waiver. Which was one of your suggestions at one point.
Well, I totally believe that it is the right of the parent to decide what their children can or cannot read in the library. And that is also their responsibility. I also, as a teacher of 40 years, know how many of my students had parents that would never be bothered to go to the library or sign a paper to say, no, you can have unrestricted access, or just get them to hold still long enough to sign something for their child. And there are so many children today that are curious and want to learn more about science or history or physics, or so many, many subjects that are adult level books. And to make it an absolute that they can't go check those books out. I mean, if they take it home and their parent says, why do you have that book? They could then go back and restrict their child if we did it this other way. They could say, I don't want you to have those kinds of books. I'm going to change your card. Fine. That's their right, and that's exactly what they should do, because that's their parental responsibility. But as a teacher, I'm an advocate for the kid, and I just want them to be able to learn and grow and explore and think about. I mean, my grandson, when he was 6, he was reading books about all of the airplanes and the battleships of World War II in the adult section. I think he has it all memorized now.
me too.
He's 12, he's 12, and I think it's all memorized. But, so I just would, but I mean, his parents would go with and make sure. That's different. But everybody doesn't have that in their family. They're just too busy or too disinterested. one or the other.
Let's make sure we hear from Melissa.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. We early today.
okay.
Okay,
Thanks for being here, Ann.
my audience, people.
I believe that the restrictions on the library card are complex because I think only just recently did my son get a library card of his very own, and we check out all our books as a family. So I don't know how you would regulate that, and I don't know how many when the children are checking out books on their parents' card, and I don't know how many family situations that would fall under, how I would imagine most people that are checking out for their kids or their kids are checking out on a family account. And I think you could be opening yourself up for some scrutiny or some problems with that if we're putting in card restrictions. Yet it's only on the cards that minors hold. They still could use their parents' card and check out books. It seems as though the attorney has said that he feels as though our process we have in place and the restrictions we currently have and our materials review policy is covering what the legislation was asking of us. If we do feel like, and Michael has said this, that he does not feel that we have obscenity in the library, and we do have a material review policy that is job is to allow community members to challenge something, and I think we should allow that policy to do its job. I also think we're far more fortunate than many small town libraries who do not have a designated children's library space. And I think that even that physical space allows parents to, allows us to meet the requirement of the law that they're asking of us to not promote and not to provide. We're not encouraging in any way children to go and find adult material. I do not think that we should have card restrictions. I think we should take a cautious approach and we should allow some time to pass and see where things flesh out and allow some of the current policies we have into place to do their job, like the material review policy.
And I agree with them. We made the changes to the material review policy, and we may find a month from now that we need to do something different about library cards, but the legislation, it doesn't need to be a card holder challenging a book even. So I think it may be premature to put restrictions on now until we see what happens in the next month or two.
Nothing in the statute addresses library cards.
In a true democratic process like we have here in the city of Coeur d'Alene, the citizens can tell us what they're happy with and what they're not happy with. And so I think if we hear from more parents that are representing different parts of our community, that they want some things to be handled differently, we'll listen. We'll always listen to what the community wants. We want to know what the community wants and what they want for their children. So I just think we should move slowly because there's a lot to figure out in this situation. And if we make it too restrictive with all kinds of card changes, that's a huge burden on our staff. And it's got a lot to flesh out.
So to answer some of the questions, comments, make a comment on the top of the comment. So we do have a situation where most families, for whatever reason, just because it's more convenient, they basically just have one card. Usually it's one of the parents, could be one of the children. And they use that card for the whole family. That's true, right? It's just easier to manage that way because there are some families of, 5 members, 5 cards. That's a lot to keep track of. So we do have that. Our families are doing that. Quite a few of our families doing that. Others are all for it. They're all for having their children have cards. Everybody in the family has a card and they check out individually. But there are options. There is flexibility within our current system. It's just a matter of trying to communicate and educate our patrons what's available.
Do you have a suggestion about what you
I
think we should do? at
think
this
I
point?
would go with how this conversation was evolving. I think right now, maybe let's leave it. But keep this in mind. I mean, we might find we need it. And this is what last 3 meetings have all been about, exploring all the options, putting everything on the table, discussing them, workshopping them, and seeing what needs to be done now, what could be done in the future.
Do you know what, or can you speak to what other major library systems in the state are doing, like the Boise
Yeah, so
system or?
as we're pretty close to July 1st, most libraries have made their decisions. I know that Boise and Meridian are very focused on just their material review policy and form. They've taken quite a different approach that we've made ours very accessible, I think. They're very easy to fill out. They've been a little more, I don't know, for example, Boise's review form is 6 pages long, 4 pages fillable. A lot of required fields. They're, I would say, make it a little difficult for people to challenge materials. But that most of the major libraries, that's where they're focused. They're focused on their material review policy and material review form.
And since we've had ours in place for quite a while and have we had any complaints about our process? Our material review process?
No, nobody's really taken it,
No formal?
to be
No.
fair.
We've had 2 challenges in the last, how many years? 7
Yeah.
years.
So it must be okay.
Well, when we adapted.
Well, but that was way back, way back.
I guess we're about
Before
to
the-
see.
Yeah.
How okay.
Right?
So I guess
You recently had a comment on a book,
But they
but they
didn't
did
file,
not file the,
no.
Those happen frequently.
right,
Like, for example, the children's library, I think it's probably been about a month. There's been 3 separate comments on 3 separate books from parents. And Charlie, the children's librarian, has spoken to their parents and listened to them, given the library's perspective, and that was the end of it. And that's how it usually goes.
Right, right.
So I guess you convinced me. But I like your idea, Katie, of seeing what happens down the road and maybe even, if there is a controversy or if there are a lot of complaints, hold a public hearing.
yeah,
Yeah.
at this point, it does not seem as though our community is telling us there's a problem.
Right.
If there was a problem, we would, seem like we would already have.
Yeah, and we already had a material review policy in place.
Right.
Correct, there was already a
We've
process,
adapted it to suit the new law, but it's always been,
there was already a process in place for the community to say, we have a problem with obscenity or challenging books in the library, and our community is not telling us there's a problem.
Even among the people that have spoken in public comment, oftentimes they've spoken about books that we don't even hold in our collection. Somewhere they are because they knew about it, but not here.
So to clarify, Michael, with this policy, then are we making any changes from what we had in policy before?
no, so that's the short story is despite all these edits and lines crossed out in blue and everything else, we are not going to be making any changes to the policy. It will remain the same as it is
Okay.
right now.
Easy motion.
Okay, but, I guess we could reaffirm the policy and put a date on it that it has been
You could,
reviewed
yeah.
again.
Yeah,
That's
that-
not a bad idea.
it was last looked at January 2022. We could put, it was looked at this meeting, 2024.
Okay. And then, as you're leaving, this language that we have to possibly use for minor card restrictions,
Yeah.
what will be the
How
best?
to be handled.
Yeah, what will be the best way if we choose to pull that up in the future?
So every board meeting, I have a folder on, it used to be on my computer, but we've moved away from that. It's now on Microsoft Teams. So I have a folder for every board meeting and it includes all the drafts, any other notes or bits of information that are necessary. And I will hand that over to the staff. And so if they ever need to go digging with prior drafts or policy, they can find.
All right, then, let's go to the question. Do we, all those in favor of approving the loan policy as presented, which would mean no changes from the current loan policy, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The loan policy stands as it was presented.
I have a question now on the second comment from the attorney about library card access online. And is there a path forward to looking into this further? Or,
Yeah, I have been digging around. So our current system, Coeur, what we've got right now is kind of what they offer. It's not great. It's basically people fill out fields, but they still have to come into the library to sign a form and do that kind of exchange and get the card. So I'm still digging around to see if there are any systems out there that could assist with this. Aspen Discovery, which is the new catalog that we're going to get, doesn't have that capacity right now. So it would be some kind of third-party software that we have to plug in order for us to do that effectively, and make it more like a legally binding contract. And
I just signed some, I believe it was a registration for school Summer Plus. It's the after-school program for the public schools. And it was a Google form that I filled out, and the Google form filled into a PDF document with a DocuSign on that.
Really?
That then emailed me that form with my signature on it. So it was a
We
pretty,
had a record.
I had a
that's the
record.
kind of thing.
Yeah, that was the kind of, and it seems like I'm actually using it now at work for something because it was such a simple,
Yeah.
straightforward. It was a link to a Google form that I had to fill in, and I also very much liked that it generated something that sent to me. So it was verifying for me, here is what you have signed, here's what you've agreed to, and it's now was in my records. That was a nice way to get a copy of, remember, here's all the things you said you would do, and
CD8 used something very similar to that,
Mhm.
where they signed up online for
Mhm.
applicants for help.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I think it would be, if you can't find anything out there that's exactly that, I bet Christopher could create it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Some-
he's pretty
Yeah.
good at that kind of stuff.
I don't know then how you get your physical card. Maybe there's a way then to come in with your
Your
signed
Would
paper.
be on the
or
record.
get
It'd be on the record. So if you came in to check out a book,
Yeah,
you'd get
I don't know how that would
Yeah.
link the number to your physical card.
Yeah, because our physical cards are pre-issued numbers. It's not machine that, prints your picture on it and generates the number right there. So we either have to switch the number manually. I think that would be
Yeah.
the best bet. That's what we do right now is when they have a self-registered
Oh,
online
when
one,
they come in, then they would get there.
get a physical card.
Mhm.
But if you did it online and it was working great for you and you were downloading ebooks, you then have to change your login information.
I wonder how, even looking beyond children or families, but the accessibility of seniors who are homebound, being able to request your library card and just check out books electronically, or isn't there a mobile that takes books around for them?
Not here.
Not anymore. Okay.
No, it never was here.
Oh, I thought there was a,
Only to the breast counties.
yeah,
We've got a homebound service, but it's not a formal bookmobile.
right.
Yeah.
But it does seem like that could create more access for people who are homebound or who cannot physically get to the library.
We'll keep digging and
Okay.
trying to work it out. I mean, it's not ideal, but we could potentially post library cards to people, assuming their address is correct on their form.
Yeah.
But that takes its staff time. Maybe it's a volunteer opportunity. I don't know, but yeah, there's options.
All right, we do have another action item under our unfinished business, so I will entertain a motion regarding the behavior policy.
I move we adopt the behavior policy as presented on the handout.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded to approve the behavior policy as presented to us today.
And I have a question. Even though I moved to approve it, I thought someplace it said there was a definition of vulnerable adults, and I didn't see it.
It's not, it's an illegal definition.
Yeah, it's highlighted. It's on page 6 of your packet.
As defined by Idaho code.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, Jim found that one. It's, as far as we know, the only actual definition within Idaho code of what a vulnerable adult is. It's buried a little bit in that statute, but it's there.
Where you can arrow down there.
Ways you would do it. It's possible.
Hard to see our phone.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Yes. We knew what was it. No. That's from there. Handling, no, anything.
Or any discussion on this?
Anyway, I just, think we probably get some cream.
So we found the definition. Are there any other questions or any other information we should be looking at, Michael?
It's, as you saw it last time, with that definition added, again, with the spirit of the original policy is intact. It's just clarified. We've added vulnerable adults, given that it's similar circumstances to unaccompanied minors. But generally speaking, the parameters are still the same as they were previously. It's just a little better defined.
Okay. Hearing no further discussion. All those in favor of approving the behavior policy as presented to us today, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries and we have adopted the updated behavior policy. Then moving on to new business, we have director recruitment and interim plan.
So it has only been, what, 3 days now. So this is, I wanted to just lay out what the process is. No decisions to be made today, except I would say that you probably need to arrange a special meeting in the next couple of weeks while I'm here to discuss this a little further, make some decisions. But to lay it out for you, the city HR department is preparing to post the vacancy. The job, they put together a pretty good packet, pretty good job notice that includes all the details of the job, including the closing date. People apply through the city website, but at the same time, you try and share it as widely as possible on job boards, other places where we can post it. We'll do a good social media push. So do our best to make it a regional recruitment process. So once it's posted, it'll be Melissa Tosi from HR will be your contact there. She'll be reaching out, giving you more details about the anticipated timeline for candidate selection and interviews and how that all works. So as a reminder to most of you, the entire board plus Kiki plus one staff member who was Melissa Searle, collection development librarian, and she has agreed to do this again if you want her. And then City HR Director Melissa Tosi formed a recruitment committee to select candidates to interview. So you've all got eyes on the applicants coming in, and you can come together and make a decision on who to proceed with for interviews.
I think the reason that I was the trustee was because I was the chair.
Okay.
I don't know that it has to be the chair, but I think that's why I was the one who did it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say that's legally what we have to do, because I don't have any idea what that's.
Yeah, so it seems last time, I don't know all the details about this, but one person on the committee was assigned to be kind of the point person. And I know that when I was applying and I had questions, Katie was kind of coordinating answers. And when I came on site for a visit, Katie was handing me off for the tour and guiding me. So it helped, I think. And then after I was selected, Katie was my go-to for questions as well. So in terms of recruitment, it'll be a series of regular special board meetings scheduled as needed to get it done. And so when you're discussing candidates, when you're selecting who to interview, when you're interviewing, that is all done in executive session. And then because there will be probably quite a few meetings to get this done, it would be great if you're all there all the time, but at the end of the day, you've all got lives and schedules of your own. So the main thing is to have a quorum of board members so that you can hold a meeting and make those selections, decisions. Okay, so any questions regarding recruitment? As I said, Melissa Tosi from the city will be your point person guiding you through.
I think that process worked pretty well in the past. I don't see any reason to change the process. I'm gonna be gone for 3 weeks this summer, beginning July 16th, back on August 6th. But that's the only long-term plan I have.
Yeah, it will likely, I'd say it might even be still, they generally put 30 days on a recruitment for a director position. So you'll probably be back by the time it closes. So it might time that well. All right, so interim plan. So this is looking at who's going to step into my shoes in the interim until a new director is found. So last time, 2 staff members at the librarian pay grade level, and remind, we only have 3 to choose from. So that was Melissa Searle and Tyler, were appointed by the board to serve as interim co-directors. They received a 10% pay increase as compensation for their additional responsibilities. Tyler can probably talk to it more, but you more or less split them down the middle, right?
And Tyler, could you address approximately how many increased hours per week you had to put in to do the job? Only doing half of it?
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at my time cards, but it's one of the quirks of the library structure here with personnel is that Michael's the only salaried employee. I'm a 40-hour hourly employee.
Yeah.
So city tries to save on overtime, so I mean compensatory time in exchange. And I picked up a good deal of it. I wouldn't be able to say how much exactly. At that time, I was able to defer some of my normal duties, delegate those amongst the other staff. And we kept our heads above water for a while, so
And that was during COVID.
it was. Yeah, I think it was late July through mid-October last time around. At which point I think that we all moved back into curbside service due to the imposed mask mandate, and it was hairy.
So with our being open now, would you foresee more hours needed?
Some more hours. I think it really depends on how the tasks are allocated. I think the interim plan, such as it is right now, we're still kind of formulating things. I know that we've got a meeting scheduled for Friday with myself, Melissa Searle, and then Charlie Howard, seeing if she has any bandwidth at all to take on additional tasks. I mean, we're all pretty up to our eyeballs in our regular duties and trying to see what we're able to move around to make this work.
So would the recommendation that it would be compensated at the bottom of the current director pay grade make it more appealing?
Possibly. So that was another point from the last time we did this, is the city's got a defined rule in the personnel, personnel rules, personnel manual.
Yeah.
Talking about temporary appointments to a higher level position. So if a department head is, gone for more than 30 days, be it, quasi sabbatical or, usually an interim directorship kind of a role. They appoint one person, and Melissa Tosi from HR had said this was the first time in her experience that they'd been approached to have two interim co-directors with Melissa Searle and I. With the normal rule, you have one person step up into the advanced role and presumably somebody else takes on their previous duties, but they do that interim director role solo and they focus on the directorship. So what we were proposing to do is splitting the duties. They said that's not defined in the rule. And so what they came up with was to give us premium pay because it's essentially adding duties to our job descriptions. And so a 10% extra compensation for the added duties. And so I think that was just the workaround they figured at the time.
My initial conversation with the city is that 10% would be the offering again. So that might be something we need to negotiate.
I totally think that's inappropriate, totally. inappropriate.
So the other option is to not do, again, the personnel rules do not define this whole co-director thing. So it was kind of flying by the seat of our pants, trying to make it up as we went along. City did come up with a plan for it, but the preferred method is to have a single interim director, as Tyler was explaining. So they would be compensated at the bottom of the current director pay grade. And they would more or less drop their role and be the director, which presents problems in itself because our three librarians are incredibly busy and have areas of
So they're.
pretty critical responsibility. I mean, Melissa orders the bulk of our materials to take her away
And
from.
nobody else does that.
Well, it's parceled out a little bit, but it's tough.
Some, yes.
Tyler is overseeing public services, the public floor, adult programming to a degree. That keeps him pretty busy. And then Charlie, of course, is in the children's library, overseeing everything there, all the programming, all the activities and events. So to drop their entire job is really not that feasible.
And nobody really does that. Nobody just says, I'm not going to do my old job at all, even though I'm the subject matter expert in this job and I'm gonna make somebody else do it. Well, no, people don't really, they just take on
It's
more
unrealistic.
and then we're undervaluing them. So I think I don't know what power we have or how we negotiate with the city to increase this, but
Need your help.
happy to help.
And as I just conclude here, I'm still gauging interest from the three librarians who would like to do it, who would not like to do it.
They're really not interested in this 10% deal.
It's
And I don't really know what a no interim director situation would look like. I mean,
Disaster.
won't be that bad, but it's not ideal.
do you think we'll have internal applicants?
You're gonna have to wait and see. Okay,
Interim burned them out last.
Well, you have to have a certain experience that
Okay,
they have to have.
got it.
so this last paragraph here,
And they have to want it.
just going into more detail about, yeah. We've discussed it already. Spreading the tasks around in addition to their current responsibilities does put a large burden on them. And it's difficult to hand some of their tasks off to some of their staff. Again, we're limited in our resources there. So to make things more manageable, I am really looking hard at what I do and trying to pick out the essentials, some of the other things. And there are things I do that could probably go to any other staff member. It doesn't have to be at my level. So I'm really looking hard at my list of tasks as best I can and saying, what are the essentials? What are mine? What could just go away for a few months? Wouldn't really cause too much harm.
You could probably give up cardboard and garbage.
Yeah, yeah, sure. It's not on my job description.
No, but it is time consuming.
When is your last day?
It's July 12th. I know it's. And then lastly, so the next meeting, my recommendation is that we've got here, you usually skip July for a regular meeting, but I would say that's fine, but maybe schedule a special meeting in the next couple of weeks while I'm still here, just to finalize recruitment plans. We'll get Melissa Tosi from HR in front of you, and then appoint interim directors.
Did we get out our calendars?
Yeah.
Figure out when we can do that? How about July 9th? I'm just picking a day out of the clouds here.
Is that too soon?
Well, we have to do it before Friday of that week.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
We have to meet before Michael's gone.
Oh, before he's gone. Okay.
Yeah,
You can meet after if you like.
no, we
That
won't,
makes
don't
it
want
easier.
to, no.
And July 9th would work if we,
I'm not here on
When are you here, Steve? When are you here before the 12th?
the 11th. And that's the latest, you know,
What about before that?
5th.
Next week.
Yeah, that's.
I can meet anytime the week of July 8th.
That's okay. I mean, you guys can,
Can
I
everybody?
don't need to be here. I'll be out of cell phone range. I'll be on the job.
And you are back, you're gone on the 9th, but you're back when?
Be back on the 10th. Afternoon of the 10th, I'd be back probably.
Could we do 4 PM on the 10th?
Did you be back for 4 o'clock meeting on the?
I hope so.
or.
No, you need to tell us that.
How about-
Joe and be back here
How-
by then.
Well, how about the
Yes or no?
Or the 11th, if that's.
The 11th would be easier than the 10th for me.
That
We
won't
could make
work for me.
No, okay.
Should we try for the 10th and hope Steve makes it? Even if he makes it halfway through, you can update him.
I would like it to be part of the decision making, the votes. Can you do that, Steve?
Yeah,
Okay.
I should be back by 4.
And what is the business that we're going to?
We'll choose our interim directors in that.
Oh,
meeting.
okay,
And
Got it.
then we'll have you talk to Melissa Tosi in HR
okay.
or some representative from HR. Any questions you have about the process, she can walk you through. Or
Of choosing the process
Yeah.
to choose the interim, the
Yeah.
official director.
And before then, we need the city to agree to a, how do we help you? You're gonna let us know or?
Well, we can't approve people if they don't want to do it.
Right.
And give a better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what do we
first,
do with that?
yeah, if, let me figure that out.
Okay.
Reach out.
And we have to
I think
notice that to the
It's such,
public.
summer looks like it's the
As long
busiest
as
time
we're
of the
on
year.
it.
There's so many events all the time. So many patrons.
That's the only reason I wonder if,
Would that
If
be,
it
in
were-
person? Would it be an executive?
We better have one conversation.
one reason I wonder if it were possible to do it next week is if we did need to negotiate with the city more on the compensation for an interim director in order to have somebody in place on the 13th. But I'm,
It could take a while. I think my next step is to go and visit city HR and just say, yeah, we're looking to increase the interim announce it, you know, and see how far I get with them, and then if I need to bring you in, I will.
okay. Then we
So
have
we'll
a
need a
special meeting scheduled for the July 10th at 4 o'clock.
Is that only an executive session meeting except for going in and coming out to vote? Or will it be? I don't know. I'm
I'm
asking.
not quite sure. I'd have to look up
It's kind of complicated.
what happened last time.
If we're changing roles of staff, that would have to be an executive session, because of personnel. Dealing with the person.
The discussion might have to be, but the
But
actual
the vote
appointment,
would be out.
you'd have to come in.
Yeah, we know that. For any action, you have to come, but discussing.
But because it's a person,
Yes,
specifically, it has to be.
So is there any other new business that anyone wants to bring before the board? Hearing none, we are now adjourned.